Hello students, welcome back to the Pioneer Academy. So today we are starting our new chapter, that's Newton's laws of motion. We have already finished unit dimension measurement and you have wrote test on that. Expect you have done it well. Okay, so we are starting second chapter and it's very important from exam point of view. Okay, so let's start this chapter and the very first thing we learn is about Newton's those three laws. Okay, let's do them one by one. So first we're talking about Newton's first law. Newton's first law of motion. Yes. So Newton's first law is simply the definition and Newton's second law gives the magnitude to calculate force. So let's talk about what is Newton's first law. You have learned in school also that many ways you can define Newton's first law. Simplest would say that a body cannot change its state of rest. Three state we talk that if no external force is acting on the body, then its states like its rest or its in motion or is moving in a particular direction will not change unless what happens, an external force act. A body cannot change its state of rest or state of motion, you say, or you can say state of what, direction also, because force can change direction also unless an external force acts. Okay, once more, a body cannot change its three state. What three state? It could be at rest, it will remain at rest. It's already in motion, uniform motion, it will keep moving, or it's moving in one particular direction, it keep moving in same direction unless what happens, an external force act. If no external force is acting, then these three states will not change. Correct? No? Yeah. So let's understand now, these states are not changing because no external force is acting. So from here you can tell me the definition of what now? Force. If I ask you, what is force? Definition of force, right? Then what is force? Is something who can change these three states, right? From here itself we can say, Newton's law saying that a body cannot change these three states, state of rest or uniform motion or moving in a particular direction unless an external force act. So what is force? Force is something which can produce change in these three states. It can just change the state of rest of a body or its motion or its direction. That is called a force. In junior classes simply say that force is what, nothing but push or pull on a body, right? We should not say like right now. We should say in terms of these things. So it's something, okay, which can produce change in what? State of rest or motion, or you say what, direction of a body. Yes, something which can produce change in these three states, that will be our force. Now one more question you can ask me here, that why Newton is saying that a body cannot change these three states? Who is opposing these change? Okay, so that is called something what? Inertia. So let's talk about inertia. What is inertia? Again we are telling from here itself that inertia is that property of the body, is inbuilt property, okay, yes, which doesn't allow change in these three states. Okay, inertia doesn't allow these changes. Okay, yes, and who can change it? Force can change. Okay, so it's the property of the body and it's a what? Inbuilt property, everybody has that, which opposes any change in state of rest, motion or what? Direction. Yes, yes. Look here, Newton's first law, we understood that a body cannot change state of rest, or we say that a body will remain in the state of rest or motion or a particular direction unless some what? External force act on that body. Yes, then I am saying that what is a force? Force is something which can change these three states. Okay, yeah. Then I am saying that why Newton is saying that a body cannot change these states? Because of some property that's called what? Inertia. So inertia is the property which opposes any change in what? State of rest, state of motion or direction. So because three states we talk, so there are three type of inertias we have. So if you talk about type of inertia, I'll write here like, so you can say like first inertia of rest. Yes, and I will give example also, and then you can talk inertia of what? Motion, or you can talk inertia of direction. Yes, so we got three type of inertia because we have three states. Yes, let's understand these with the help of some example. Suppose what is inertia of rest? How you will understand inertia of rest? So if body is initially at rest, then the inertia of the body will try to keep that body in rest only when an external force is what acting there, right? Try to keep. So how you understand this example? Suppose you are sitting in a bus, you are in a bus and bus is at rest, okay? Yes. Now bus suddenly start, okay? Yes, you are in bus and bus suddenly start, then you know that suppose you are sitting on your seat here, you will try to fall backward. When bus is going that direction, you try to fall back. You will feel that I am falling backward. Why this happens? Because listen, the bus is at rest, your whole body is rest, okay? Yes. Now bus start. So the lower part of the body is in contact with our bus, so that also moves with the bus. Correct, but the upper part which was at rest, it want to remain at rest only. So upper part tried to remain at the same point only, but lower part was go forward with what bus. So you feel that we are falling backward, right? So bus goes in that direction and try to fall like backward. Okay. Yes. So in real we are not, our like head remains at the same position only, but the lower part start moving with what bus. So we fall what backward. So this is like example inertia of rest, or opposite of this what inertia of motion. Now bus was moving already and you apply the brake, then you try to fall forward. Why? Because your whole body is now moving with bus, you are in motion, then when bus stops, the lower part of the body try to come at rest, but upper part keep moving. Correct? Like our neck or say our head is keep moving. Yeah, it was in motion, lower part came to rest with bus because in contact with bus. Okay, so upper part goes what? Forward. So we see that we are falling forward. Okay, yes. Inertia of direction. Suppose you are sitting in a car and then you are turning on a circular road. Then you feel what? Outward. Like this. You are sitting in a car and when car is turning on a circular road like here, then what happens? Okay, you are going this direction. You will try to fall outward. You will try to what? Fall outward. Why this happening? Because we know that bus, we are sitting in bus, or straight we are moving, so whole body is moving straight, but when you turn here, the centripetal force will act here, okay? This will try to throw you what? Outward, right? So you feel what? Outward, okay? Yes. So these are three types of the inertia we have spoken. Newton's first law we are talking, force definition understood, inertia we have understood, and three types of inertia we have understood, okay? Yes. Let's move on. So Newton's first law is simply definition of the force. If somebody asks you, what is significance of Newton's first law? Then what is the answer? It defines force. It says what is force. So simplest way I write definition is what? It define force. Newton's first law gives definition of the force. That what is a force? Force is something which can produce change in these three states. That's a force, right? So in simple language, Newton's first law is what? The definition of the force. It defines force. Okay, Newton's first law defines force. Then Newton's second law gives what? The magnitude of the force. How much force is acting? This telling that what is force, and second law tell you that how much is the force. It gives a formula to calculate what force. But before we learn to second law, we have to learn a small term that's called momentum, or we say properly linear momentum, because later angular momentum will come. Okay, linear momentum represented by P symbol. So you learn this formula. P is nothing but, if I write vector form, becomes m into what? V, mass into velocity. This is called what? Linear momentum. We will talk a lot about this when we talk about conservation of momentum. I just need definition only here. So linear momentum is what? P is what? M into V, or if you want to write simple, you can write mv also. Okay, no problem. This is scalar formula, this is a vector form. Okay, I'm just writing formula only because I need the next second law. About this we will talk in third law and what? When we talk about conservation of the momentum principle. Okay, yes. Let's talk about Newton's second law. Very, very important. Newton's second law of motion. Yes, very important we're talking. Okay, so this as once more I'm telling, Newton's first law defines what force. It said what is the force. Then Newton's second law gives what? Says that how much is the force. Okay, it gives a formula to calculate the amount of force acting on that body. It says that the force acting, we should say external force simply, okay, always external force acting on a body is simply equal to the rate of change of momentum. Yes. He said how much the external force acting on a body, it giving a formula. Say this force acting is simply equal to what? The rate of change of momentum. Or mathematically how you say F is equal to what? dp by dt. Rate of change of momentum is called what? Your force. Okay, we are talking about Newton's second law. Let me write it once more. So definition I wrote, and I said that force is given by dp by what? dt. Force is simply equal to what? Rate of change of momentum of that body. And also just I told you that what is momentum, you know that is p is what? Simply m into what? v. This is the momentum. Okay, yes. So we'll talk that this formula as a direct, they have asked question on exam, but first we simplify this. Let's try to put momentum here. When you put momentum here, force becomes d by dt of mv. So there are two variables and we have to differentiate that. We have formula for that, d by dt of u into v. Remember this formula? So what is formula? F means anything in, I'm just writing like this way, d by dx or d by dt of u into v. What is formula? U into dv by dt plus v into what? Du by dt. This formula will use. Let's use here. So force will be m suppose constant, then dv by dt, or v constant, then is what? dm by dt. This is a complete force acting on a body when mass varying and velocity both are varying. But 99% we will see that only one thing will vary. Okay, for NEET when we talk medical, only one thing will be varying. Either mass is constant, velocity varying, or velocity constant and mass is varying. Both variations they did not ask NEET so far, but they have asked in JEE. Okay, so if you are JEE student, the complete equation you need to use some time, but NEET student you have to use only one variable will be there. Let's talk one by one. Suppose first case I talk, case 1. Yes, if suppose mass is given constant, okay, no problem, and velocity is what? Varying. Okay, mass is constant of that body and velocity varying. So what we will see from this formula, if mass is constant, then this term becomes what? 0. Correct? This term becomes, because dm by dt terms become 0. Mass constant means differentiation become what? 0. Then what will have in that case? Force acting on that body is given by m into dv by dt, and dv by dt is nothing but what? Acceleration. So m into a. So your famous formula force is equal to ma. You can use only this formula when mass is constant and what? Velocity is varying or acceleration given, right? So remember the conditions. Direct is one of the important formula of physics. We will use this with combined with many other things. Okay, let's come to the second case. Case number 2, opposite of this. Suppose I say if velocity is constant of that body and what? Mass is what? Varying. Okay, yes, in that case what will happen? If mass is velocity is constant, and look in this formula again, this term becomes now what? 0. dv by dt will be what? 0. Okay, yes. So force acting in that body will be given by this formula v into dm by dt. Very important formula. Many questions has been asked on NEET about this formula, where velocity of the body is constant and mass is what? Varying. I will give all the example and pattern they have asked on this formula. So this direct question they asked to us what? On this formula. This formula will use with some other things like lift problem and this I will talk little later. Now we will focus on what? This formula. Okay, this is a common formula. So this formula is very important for NEET students because direct questions will be asked to you on this. Okay, so let's discuss some questions based on this formula. What formula? Force is equal to velocity dm by what? dt. Right? So v is called your velocity here, and dm by dt is called rate of change of mass, right? Rate of change of mass. Now I'll tell you what questions has been asked on this, or what can be asked. So first, where you use these type of things, like example I'm talking, famously used for like conveyor belts. Conveyor belts, we apply these rule. Okay, yes. What are a conveyor belt? These are the like long belt used in industries to transport what? Material. If you have seen like this, there are some wheels on which a big long belt is rotating over them. These are two wheels, they keep rotating like, okay, yes. And suppose you power something here, suppose sand or cement or something is powering here, that moves along this belt and it comes to here and fall here, right? Yes. Right? Yes. So in these questions, in this type of situation, what happens? Watch carefully, listen carefully. Here belt keep moving at a constant speed. The speed of belt will never change, but the amount of mass we are dropping on this will keep changing. You're dropping 10 kg in 1 second, then sometime 15 kg in 1 second, right? But the speed of these wheels or this belt will be always same. So here they ask the question that how much force is required to move this conveyor belt? Force required to move this conveyor belt. Right? How much force will be required to move this conveyor belt? So what I'm saying, this conveyor belt, if you want to write force, you have to use this equation, because velocity of the conveyor belt will be always constant and mass we are dropping over this 10 kg per second, 100 kg per second, something, right? We cannot use this formula for, because here mass is not constant. Mass every second you're putting some mass there, right? And it's not accelerating because velocity remains constant, so you cannot use that equation. You have to use what? This equation, right? Second. Okay, suppose by chance they ask here how much force acting, this is your answer. F is what? M into, sorry, V into what? Velocity into what? dm by dt. This is your answer. Correct. V is the velocity of the belt. Here V is velocity of the belt, and dm by dt is how much mass you're putting on this, right? Yes. So I write like mass per second they will give how much mass we are dropping on this belt. So like this, using this formula you can find how much force required to bend. They can ask one additional question here, that power required to drive this belt. Okay, yes. How much power will you require? Power and force are directly related. If velocity is given constant, then this power formula comes in our next chapter. Okay, work energy power, but I'm writing here. Power is what? Force into velocity. One is this format. Okay, force into what? Velocity. So they are asking force required to drive this, move this belt. They can ask you power also. So power is force into velocity. So we see nothing that force is that formula into velocity become v square into what? dm by dt. This is what? Power when the velocity is given constant and mass is what? Changing. Correct? Okay, this is the first example where we use this formula, conveyor belt. Okay, move on. Another question like this. You talk about escalators. Escalator also we use what? Same principle. How? Because escalator, what happens? There is a steps which are moving again over some belt, right? Now this is wheels again, and the one wheel is at the top and one is at bottom, and a belt is moving over these wheels, right? Yes. Now this belt always moves at a constant speed v. Yes or no? This belt always moves at constant speed, because if you have seen in mall there are escalator. If one person is standing there, they move at some speed. If 10% are standing there, still they move at the same speed. Or 100% stand there, still it moves at the same speed. It means it moves at always at a constant speed, but the mass on this is changing. Suppose they ask this question for the escalator belt. Okay, escalator, then you will use same. They said how much force required to drive the escalator belt. Same answer, velocity into what? Rate of change of mass. If they ask power required, same answer, v square into what? dm by dt. So escalator also you can use the same. So this question was asked, escalator question was asked, even more question we are talking. Suppose you have water jets, water pipe or water jets. Again you use the same. Suppose you have pipe and water is coming out of this pipe, okay, like this. Yes. So you see that suppose water is coming at constant speed and some mass will come out always, right? 2 kg per second, 1 kg per second, 3 kg per second. Some mass will come continuously out of the pipe, but the velocity of the water is what? Constant. So if they ask how much force produced by this water jet, what they ask? Force produced by water jet, then for this force formula will be what? V into dm by dt. Velocity of the water into what? Rate of change of mass coming out. How much mass is coming out in 1 second? Okay, yes. So force produced by water jet, also you write this formula, not this formula. Okay, yes. Okay, one question was asked directly like this only to calculate force. One more question was asked on this. Let me talk about that. Okay, so for water jet, the force produced by water jet, we'll use this formula. So direct question was asked like this one, and one more question was asked here. Listen, look at this question. A 5 kg block resting on a frictionless plane, it is struck by a water jet at the rate of 3 kg per second with speed of 4 meter per second. Calculate the initial acceleration of the block. So look here, they're trying to say there's a plane and some block is placed here. The block is 5 kg in mass and water is struck by a water jet. Look here, like this one is sprinkling some water on this. Okay, yes. They are asking that what is the initial acceleration of the block. Now here both formulas we have to use, because you see for this block mass will remain, start moving, mass will be constant for this block, only velocity will change. So force on this block, for block when you talk, force will be ma formula, right? And for water jet you talk, for water jet the force will be V into dm by dt, because velocity of water is constant and mass is coming out, right? Both things are here. Block we writing this formula because mass of the block is not changing, and for water jet we writing this formula because velocity constant, mass changing. Okay, yes. So let's see what is force produced by water jet. How much? It will be, velocity is already given 4 meter per second, 4, and how much mass coming out? 3 kg per second. So 3, force becomes 12 Newton. Now this force is applied on this block. So here we write 12 Newton is equal to, mass is given as 5 into what? A. So acceleration is what? 12 by 5 meter per second square. That's our answer. So both formulas are here. Newton's laws. The force is equal to dp by dt. Then we have two format, velocity constant or mass constant. Both formulas came here, right? Okay. So I have said three things where using this formula. I have spoken about escalator belts and conveyor belts, water jets, and let's talk for the example about rocket propulsion. Rocket propulsion. Yes. So for rocket also use this equation only. Why? We'll discuss. First understand how rocket works. Rocket is made up of many compartments, right? Many parts are there, right? It's divided into what? Many compartments, right? Yes. Gases are burning and the living at the end. So gases apply a force on this, it moves what? Upward, right? Now what happened actually in real? The maximum mass of this rocket is what? The fuel only. Only in this compartment we have main and machine, otherwise completely what? Fuel everywhere. All this compartment what we have? Fuel. So maximum mass of the rocket is what? Fuel only, right? Yes. So when rocket is flying, the rate of fuel burn is what? Very high. Correct? No? Rate of fuel burn is what? Very high. Also, so suppose fuel is burning at some rate, suppose 1 kg 100 per second like this rate is burning. So here two conditions again broadly we can talk. Sometimes the velocity of rocket will be constant, and sometimes the velocity of rocket will be what? Not constant, it's what? Accelerating. So both case we can talk. Let's talk about these two cases. Suppose rocket is accelerating. First case we talk again. In rocket we can talk two cases. Rocket is accelerating. It's moving upward with some acceleration what? A. Then how you write a force equation on this? Okay, what force are acting now? Three force. One is weight of the rocket mg, correct? One this force ma, and one force produced by what? This gases, right? So here mass is burning. Okay, so mass burning, how you write the net force equation? V into dm by dt minus mg is equal to what? ma. This equation will write if rocket is what? Accelerating. Okay. Yes. So here again, mg is the weight of the rocket, v is the velocity of the rocket, dm by dt rate of fuel burn. What is dm by dt here? Here we will call it rate of fuel burn, because that's the what main mass of this rocket. Okay. So at what rate the fuel is burning, that's the rate the mass of the rocket is changing, because main mass I told you is what? Fuel mass only. Okay, if rocket is accelerating, you have to write this equation. Here they can ask you what is the acceleration of the rocket, then you write this equation. This is a force produced by what? These gases which are burning here minus weight of the rocket is equal to what? Net force ma. Okay. Yes. But when we talk about NEET exam, mainly this format will be asked. Rocket is moving with constant velocity. Yes. If velocity is constant, this the acceleration of the rocket will be 0. In that case, the force produced by water jet, which is what v into dm by dt, is simply equal to what? Mg. That equation you have to write. Right? These are the two simple case for rocket propulsion. Okay. Yes. So based on Newton, okay, there was one more question was asked that I remember based on the same idea. They said something like this. Question number 5 we are talking based on the Newton's second law's second format. Right? First format is what? F is ma, mass constant, and second format is what? Velocity constant. So we are talking about this point. 4 type of questions we have done. This is the 5th question we are doing. They said that there is a planet and is sweeping some dust in the space, and the rate of sweep of dust was given and the velocity of the that planet was given. So I can write that question here if you want to write. So they said planet sweeping dust. This type of question was asked in our exam, NEET exam. So they said some planet is moving in space and is what? Due to gravitational force is what? Attracting those dust. So is sweeping those, dragging that dust at some rate is given, and the velocity of that planet was given. Again they said what is the force required by this planet to what? Drag this dust. Okay. Yes. So same answer will be there. Is sweeping dust at some rate. Okay. dm by dt was the rate of sweeping of dust. This was given. And v is the velocity of the planet was given. Velocity of the planet was given to you. So they are asking what is the force required. Same answer was here, v into what? Dm by dt. Or they can ask power also. Power is what? V square into what? Dm dt. Because power is nothing, force into again velocity only, right? So this question was also asked. These are 5 type of questions were asked based on what? This format. Velocity, force is equal to what? When velocity constant and what? Mass is changing, right? Okay. We have learned about Newton's second law. So we have learned that either force will be equal to m into a if mass of the body is constant and its velocity is changing, or force will be v into dm by dt if velocity is constant and what? Mass changing. We have done 5-6 questions on this format, right? Okay. Okay. Next point we are learning is here. We have to learn third law. Before that, another points we have to learn. So this is called impulse. I symbol we write for this impulse. Okay. So what is impulse? Impulse is nothing but a big force you have and act on a body for very small time. Simplest definition I will say is a big force acting, we say like when a big force acting for small time, then the product of force and time is called what? Impulse. I is equal to what? F into t. I should say 2 ways. Suppose first way I say that impulse, there are 2 cases available. If force is constant, force is what? Constant. The force acting is constant, then impulse I will write, impulse will be equal to F into what? Del t or small t, right? Force into what? Time. Or if force is variable, if force is variable, then impulse I will write integration of what? F into what? dt. Yes, again you should give attention that impulse is a vector because force is a vector. So you should write like vector form properly. That's the correct way, right? So 2 cases you wrote. The impulse is what? Force into time directly if force is constant, or force is variable means an equation of force is given. then you have tried what? Integration of f into what? dt, correct? Yes. Also should know that because we have learned last time your force also equal to what? dp by dt, right? Yes. So suppose you put your force here, dp by dt get cancelled, then or third way how you say impulse, your impulse also equal to what? Simply rate of change of momentum. Again both are vector. This is a third way to say, right? In terms of force you can have two cases, either force is variable or force is constant, or you can say this in terms of momentum I into dp, or simply say now that suppose variable then dp or equal to what? f into what? del t, right? All these you can see, right? So impulse is simply equal to what? Change in momentum. So the dimension and unit will be same as what? Momentum only. If you want to write what is unit of this? Unit. So you say this force into what? Time. So you write a Newton. Properly say what is unit? Newton and what? Second. This is what? Unit. Or if you want to write its dimension, then force dimension into time dimension. So it becomes m power 1, l power 1 and t power minus 1. That's the dimension of impulse, which is dimension of momentum also, right? Mass into velocity simply, correct? Okay, now we'll talk that, okay, few more things I will talk, like first suppose you draw a curve between what? Force and time. This is a curve between force versus time. You calculate some curve, we don't know, and if you calculate area of this curve, area under this curve, okay, this will give us what? You impulse or change in momentum. Force and time curve. If you calculate area below this curve, area under this curve, this will give your impulse or change in momentum. So I am writing here the area under force and time curve gives impulse, you can say impulse, or simply you can say change in momentum also, change in momentum, because impulse is simply equal to what? Change in momentum. So small questions we'll talk about that, how they ask directly on this impulse and time and this momentum relations, okay? Yes. First we can talk some questions in terms of graph itself, some graphical questions we'll do, okay? Yes, let's do them. Okay, so a graphical question is given to us. It says that below given graph is between force and time curve for a ball. Okay, find impulse given to the ball, find the average force acting on the ball. Let's first find what is impulse given. Force and time curve is given to you. Both are in the SI system, newtons and seconds. Okay, find the impulse. So I said as impulse is nothing but what? Area below this force and time curve. This is looking like a simple triangle. So area will be half base into what? Height. Half base means from here to here. 2.5 minus 1 means 1.5. Height 0 to what? That height, which is what? 18,000. Okay, 18,000 goes here, you get what? 9,000. So answer will be 9,000 into 1.5. So 9,000 into 1.5 means 4,500 means 13,500. That's the Newton and second that's the impulse acting on this ball. First question, okay? Yes, A. Then second you want to answer that what is average force acting. So impulse is what? F into del t, right? Yes. So force will be impulse by time. Impulse will be found already 13,500 and time from here to here time we have. So again you divide this number by 2.5 minus 1 means 1.5. Again we get the same answer, how much? 9,000. Or yeah. So that's the Newton, the force acting on this ball, right? Okay. Okay, let's do one more question. This type of question. This is a graphical question. So change in momentum and these things we have to find. Suppose this question is given that a ball rebounds from a wall with same velocity as shown in figure. Find impulse imparted to the wall. Okay, and some picture is given to you like this way. There is a wall here, this is a wall, and some ball comes like this way. Say some angle it comes, say is 30 degree, and rebounds with what? Same angle, 30 degree. This ball here has mass m, velocity v, rebounds with velocity and same velocity and mass, right? So we have to find what is the impulse given by this ball to the wall, or they can ask like force also. So first we calculate impulse, then okay. So here what we know mass and velocity, so we know momentum, so you have to calculate change in momentum, because we know change in momentum, then you can find your impulse, then you can find your force also, right? So what is initial momentum? Look here, this is not given horizontal, so you have to take the component of this in x direction, y direction, okay? Yes, let's take the component of this. I write with different color. Okay, momentum along this line is what? mv. Let's go then positive mv. Okay, momentum is a vector. If direction get reversed, momentum will be negative, right? So this I am calling direction is positive direction. What's the component of this momentum along x direction? What is the answer? mv cos 30. So this is the momentum in x direction, initial momentum, how much? mv cos 30, okay? Yes. Similarly, what is the momentum in y direction? Component of this downward. So this become what? mv sin 30. Component of mv along what? This direction, downward it coming. So momentum in y direction initially how much? mv sin 30. Okay. Now let's take what final momentum about this. First direction got reversed. This value will be mv, mass same, velocity same. So momentum is got mv only. Now to take the component of this along x direction. Component of this along x direction becomes p x direction final. What is the answer? mv minus mv cos 30. Minus because now this component becomes in this direction. Initially it was like that way. Component of this along this direction, now we are calling this. This I am calling positive, then that will be negative. Or you call this as negative, then that will be positive. Doesn't matter. Okay. Momentum y direction final. Component of this along this direction becomes downward, becomes mv sin 30. mv sin 30. This is positive only. Why? Because initially I am calling, suppose this I am calling positive downward, then this also downward only. So now change in momentum in y direction becomes what? 0. Because same. This and this are exactly same. But change in momentum in x direction comes how much? Final is what? This much. mv cos theta minus initial how much? mv cos theta 30. Okay, so this become in x direction becomes how much? Minus 2 mv cos 30. Thus the momentum, change in momentum in x direction, that's the impulse given to you. So impulse is equal to simply 2 mv cos 30 minus there, that's all. That's your answer. If the force they ask, time will be given to you. So impulse is what? Force into time. So give attention here. You took component x direction, y direction. Any one direction you can call positive. Like on this direction I am calling what? Positive. Then second time this becomes what? Negative direction. I wrote here negative. But in y direction, initial direction is downward. I am calling it positive. The final momentum you do this also. Component also what? Same direction. So directions are same. So change in momentum becomes what? 0 in y direction. That is momentum all in what? X direction. Right? Okay.